season for good reason. You know why. But this was the big rivalry from back then. And I mean, it looks like maybe ZeeBee has faith that the Malo can do it.
On paper, I feel like it's definitely doable, but I feel like it's less Malo's tools and it's more ZeeBee's abilities as a player. He's just so adaptable. He's able to look at any situation, recognize how it's supposed to go, and then try his damnedest to just throw that on its side. Just do what he can to make the other player uncomfortable, while he himself sitting perfectly fine in whatever given situation.
He is, you know bingo halls, right? He is the person spinning you around in the carousel before pulling out the number. He wants you to be as confused and disoriented as possible before he pulls you out and says, all right, GG.
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
He's the carousel master. He's the ringleader.
Yep.
And in this case, I could see them maybe going to Merchant, maybe. I could see it. Because, like, Merchant's a pretty good force sprint stage. You get a lot of decent distance, you know. Yep. All right, we're going to start game one here on Merchant Pro semis. Cake versus ZeeBee. And right away, we're seeing the more defensive bomb play coming out from him.
Yep, and I think it's a fantastic reaction to what you have to deal with when it comes to dealing with force burn. Like, the bombs themselves do such a good job of clearing out the smoke. It also forces a lot of how Cake will be able to approach. His clone isn't safe because it just gets popped. And on top of all of that, anytime you see the approach, you'll be able to threaten a lot of active space with your back airs, with your nairs. You don't have to really commit to having a lot of damage on the board.
You really don't, you're right. And it's for reasons like that where you can just kind of get stuck in a spot where there's a finisher bomb in front of you and you don't really know if you have a button to respond to it with. And if you don't retreat in time, it's sayonara or something. That's your stock at 7.
Oh yeah. And one of the beautiful things about the finisher bomb, the fact that you can still litter the screen with the cherry bombs in conjunction, I feel like that in particular is what makes finisher so lethal in this matchup. Like, yes, big bomb, big hurt. Fine. But the fact that you also have to couple in the other bombs so that you don't have like one spot to avoid is really big. Especially with force burn, where you have to put a bit of work into setting up your escape plans. Like, you have to lay out the smoke. You have to not be predictable within the smoke.
Oh, I love that there.
There's so many ways that the bombs are limiting Cake's movement right now. Like, he just has to hold all of his damage.
I think the big thing that ZeeBee likes to do in this case is control the airspace of it, because he knows his opponent wants to try and jump at him a lot of the time. He does it a lot with Penguin when they played. He would control a lot of her airspace by throwing bombs up and throwing bombs forward in the air, and force Penguin to play the ground game.
Yeah,
you know, better at.
It's funny because there's so many characters that are just more oriented to the airplay, but then also there's a lot of players who are just far more comfortable to being able to jump around a lot, being able to take advantage of the platforms as escape routes. And a character like Malo is able to deny all of that and force a very strong grounded game. And having to force someone away from being able to jump a lot, all of a sudden you start to have a lot of very minor flaws exasperated very heavily.
Yeah, not to mention the mental stamina too, because like Malo's a character that, as good as his buttons are, we have to be completely honest, is a bit of a slower character in the combo game and the kill routes.
Oh yeah, like it definitely goes without saying. I feel that Malo is a character who is not winning out in interactions by sheer firepower. Malo's annoying. Malo is going to whittle away at your endurance. Like, just slowly you have to adjust how you're playing because there's just stuff on the screen. And then Malo just hits you a lot.
A lot. Like, we're 3 minutes into this game right now, and it just hit last stock, which is not necessarily bad, but very uncommon for rivals. A lot of the time, you definitely tend to see players playing a little more aggressively and being able to sort of maneuver around and get and find these kills at, like, good percents, like 90, 100 or so. Malo's been finding those kills around like 140, 150, sometimes even 180, you know.
You know, when you pick Malo on the character select, you kind of signed up for this. You know what you're in store for. It's like, yeah, finisher's getting your kills at 70 if you're prepared. If you're not, I hope you like seeing the number 2 and 2 digits following it, because very likely, unless you're positioning someone for some random setup, you're taking a while to get to your kills. Yeah, sometimes you're also just the author of your own demise.
That was very scary. I'm gonna be completely real with you.
Oh, not the charge!
The parry on the bomb!
Oh no!
He sat there, stared down the gunman, and said, "Draw." He stared the gunman down and lived. That's insane.
He really said, "Pull the trigger, bug boy."
Yeah,
and he did.
You got one shot. You better make it count. You better take me out right now. And then just like that, Cake takes the first game despite being down for basically 90% of it.
What's crazy is that, like, if ZeeBee didn't charge that, I don't think he would have had to deal with that. I think
it gave Cake time to react.
Yes, exactly. Because the entire time, like, yeah, even though we were just highlighting how, like, Malo victory is a slow burn, ZeeBee was doing a really good job of keeping a consistent tempo to his zoning. It was a lot of, you worry about Malo positioning, now you worry about bombs, now you worry about the bombs some more, oh, now it's Malo time. But it was at very steady beats. Taking a moment to just have a beat of silence amongst that gives your opponent a moment to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have to respect this.
Yeah,
and that's the worst thing you can have as a zoner.
Yeah, like, one of the best responses to Malo's bombs is to just throw them back at him. To parry them, to use a disjointed hitbox to throw them back, like, to kind of just disrespect them.
And I think Cake has now finally remembered that, as I heard the parry flash right before another stock was lost. And Cake just chilling at 46. A very similar lead that we saw ZeeBee have in our previous game, but at a much faster rate.
Yeah, though right now, Cake online with Combust, using it to get that nice little recovery. You see all that smoke down at the bottom of the blast zone.
Trying to go for that haymaker.
Ooh, yeah, sometimes you gotta go for the heavy hits. 63% in climbing, 4th man's damage output is nothing to sneeze at. You want to get those big hits. You want to be able to clean up the stock before. Yeah, just another one goes. You see Cake's already looking for the kill. There it is.
There we go. I was kind of worried earlier because there was a bunch of times where ZeeBee could have secured a stock with down strong and just didn't. And I was wondering if it was just because he's being silly or if he's holding it for something, but here we are.
Yeah.
Although here we are is a 2-to-1 stock deficit in ZeeBee.
Yeah,
so,
down strong taking it once again.
And it's a really good call from both players when you consider that even though, yeah, it's Air Armada, it is a relatively more grounded game. Also consider the fact of how strong the down strongs are from both characters, because that's just another thing to worry about. Just add that into the mental stack.
Yeah, getting a little too greedy for that second back there. Unfortunately, this game, which was once looking super doable for ZeeBee, has just slipped out of his fingers so quickly. As I say that.
Bomb to the face. And the finisher comes out. And now, who's to say what will happen?
It's gonna end in a really silly manner.
I love you. Oh, all right. I would have been here for it. I would have been so here for it, but woo! Yeah.
Instant parry down strong on that firecracker. Insane reactions coming out from Cake to take game number 2.
All right. The crosshair is moving, but he's staying.
He's sticking to Malo. He's sticking to his guns. I respect that.
I like it. I feel like the game 2 was lost more so from Cake adapting very well and playing very well off those adaptations than it was ZeeBee playing any worse.
100%. A lot of it is that Cake is starting to remember how Forsman needs to deal with this matchup in particular. How to deal, what moves he can use to really deal with firecrackers and cherry bombs. What moves he can really safely wall out Malo with and threaten like big damage and combos with. Especially chasing on those platforms with the upper, because ZeeBee's been using those platforms a lot, and Cake is starting to both take control by standing on them and then sharking with up air.
Yeah, which is something that, just generally speaking, you have to worry about when it comes to Forsman, because it's a plenty good disjoint to take advantage of, but the haymaker finds its mark.
Double dunks, he said, douche, douche.
Got him out of here.
The double cape not finding its mark, though. Tragedy. Tragedy striking today. RNG not on Cake's side.
Oh, flashbang not really doing much for ZeeBee here, although it does give a lot of opportunity. I was going to say for the offstage play, when you have the flashbang in hand, you also have that opportunity to just let it hit you, let the stun hit you, or have your opponent in a position where they have to swing, obviously, and you can stage tap.
Yeah, in this case, ZeeBee just opted to throw the flashbang, and then unfortunately the clone said, "Hello, there's nothing to do with me now," and then got spiked for it, and is now off stage, getting losing the lead very, very suddenly.
Oh, the charge on the bomb so he could fast fall with it. I like that. Just using the bomb toss as your hit confirm, I think is a beautiful idea for PvP.
Oh, fantastic idea, yeah. Flashbang might not have a whole lot of like practical uses, maybe for combos, but the one thing it is really good at is hit confirming.
Yeah, it's just your jab. Worst case scenario, it's just jab.
It's a long range jab.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah, especially when Malo has like some good buttons. Like, it'll really help Malo combo into those normals a lot better. We're seeing the cherry bomb start to come on more. ZeeBee just wants the stock gone. Dunskies.
I mean, oh. Didn't cook it at all. All right. He just needs to secure the stock, and all of a sudden, the finisher comes out, and then genuinely even game. Smoking out the treetops here.
Oh, rough Diana. That is going to kill.
Yeah.
And Cake with a 3-0 over ZeeBee. Going to move on into winners finals, where we're going to start seeing the classic again of Cake versus Penguin.
It's a tale as old as time.
Song as old as rhyme, even.
Although now we have a lower bracket to navigate.
Yeah, we do have the losers gauntlet still going on. People making their deep runs through. We have on stage Plastic Dinosaurs, the one who was meant